Deers Ford pit stop with the Auto Amigos, joined by Coach Jeff Jamrog this morning. Take two. We have to redo this. We had some technical glitches the last time, so we sure appreciate you coming back, Coach. I know you have a busy schedule.
Yeah, it's great to be back. Have graduation here at 10 in the morning today. I have about 30 football student athletes graduating, so it's always favorite day of the year, in my opinion, is see those young men graduate and be on the other side of the stage and take a quick selfie with them. And I know it's a big day for them and their families and our program.
Well, I know when you spend that much time together the last 4 or 5 years with these kids, they really mean a lot to you and get a place in your heart. And I think it's great that you're going to be there today because that's one of the faces they're going to love to see.
Yeah, I tell people it's the favorite day of the year to see those young men come across stage and go out and do big things in the world and be a great husband someday. Some of them one's getting married here this summer, Tyson Dinkert, all-time leading rusher, and worked here at Deers Ford. One of the best young men that I've ever had the privilege of coaching, and as good a player as he was on the football field, he's that much better person off the football field. So a lot of excitement going on campus today.
I know we told Tyson yesterday. I told Tyson, I saw Willie Garrett had posted he'll be listening to your podcast. And I said, Tyson, that was a great at Midland University. That guy was a great running back a long time ago. And I said, I was thinking about that when you are the career rushing record holder at Midland. I said, there were a lot of great running backs in this program. I go, do you know what an honor that is for you? And he said, I do. And I said, well, when you run the wishbone offense like we did for so long, you're going to have some great running backs.
No doubt. And Coach Watchorn, head coach for 21 years and had some great offenses. And to think that how many times they ran the ball, and like you mentioned, some great running backs during that time and all conference running backs. But to see him do that the last 4 years, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, unbelievable how many broken tackles he had. I think one game, it was like 27 missed tackles. Just an amazing young man. And to think that he played high school ball at old Kennesaw, Nebraska, with one of my former teammates at Nebraska, Craig Schnitzler, was his coach. And one game he had 55 carries. Yeah, unbelievable. And amazing that at every play he would go to the sideline and get the call from Coach Schnitzler, then run back out to the field. And I'm like, don't they have a system where they can just signal this? Yeah. It's the same play every time almost.
I was telling him yesterday, I said, we had a day where a piece of paper blew out of a truck and Tyson was chasing it to pick it up. And I go, where's that swivel in the hips? I've seen it on film.
Right. No doubt.
Well, let's start out. Just tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and how you ended up at Midland University.
Well, it's going to be a long answer, but we'll get to it, okay? When you're 61 years old, right? I grew up in Omaha, Nebraska. Had a pretty tough upbringing. I had 3 older sisters. I was the baby. My dad was a senior vice president at Commercial Federal. Took early retirement, basically right when I about started college. Went to Mount Michael High School. Wanted to actually go to Prep or Westside where all my buddies went, but my parents said, go out there for 1 year. If you don't like it, you can transfer, and ended up loving it. Played for a Hall of Fame coach named Jim Kane. He's in the Nebraska Hall of Fame. Tremendous coach and a mentor of mine, and unfortunately passed away years ago, but he was an outstanding coach, coached football, basketball, track. Won state my senior year in football, basketball, and had some scholarship opportunities. South Dakota, UNO, very good scholarships. Iowa State offered, and at the end of the day, it came down to one school the whole time, and that was University of Nebraska. Unfortunately, sat in Coach Osborne's office, Hall of Fame coach. I played for 2 Hall of Fame coaches, and he said, Jeff, this is a really good class this year in the state of Nebraska. I played actually 7th, 8th grade football with a number of them, like Jeff Taylor and Scott Hill, that went down to Nebraska from Westside, a number of them, guys that went on to play Iowa State and Wyoming. And he goes, Coach Osborne goes, Jeff, he goes, we think you're a really good football player. He goes, right now, he goes, we're out of scholarships. If I had one more left, you'd be the guy. I'll never forget that. And I'm still upset with Coach Osborne to this day. We joke about it later when I worked for Coach Osborne at Nebraska, but it motivated me. When I went there, I wanted to accomplish 3 things. I wanted to be an academic All-American, get a scholarship, and start. I was fortunate to do that. At Nebraska, my senior year, I got a postgraduate scholarship from the NCAA was a business degree major. My wife thought I was going to get my MBA and then go to Wall Street. Instead, I got my MBA, went to University of South Dakota on an 11-month contract, making about $22,000 a year.
Big bucks. Huh?
Big bucks. And 11-month contract. Now, you don't get paid 1 month. My wife's like, well, I don't understand that one. I go, well, we'll figure it out somehow. And we did. Started a family at University of South Dakota. Very fortunate to have an outstanding family. Got 4 grandkids, 3 kids. Oldest is Elizabeth, has 3 kids, William, Adelaide, and John. They're blast to babysit and be around. And I'm going to call you babysit, right? It's just be around, you spoil them, and then you leave, right? Then I have a middle child, Brett. He's a priest down in South Omaha. 4 parishes. Yep, God bless him. He does a great job down South Omaha. Really enjoys it down there at the parishes. And then my youngest son, Jared, married to Laura, have a 2-year-old son named Jack. I love when he gives his football signals. He may be a ref someday because he knows holding. He'll hold his hand like this. The best one, I'll say Jack targeting, and it'll go like this, hits his head on the side. It's hilarious. So it's awesome to have the grandkids in the area. Wife, Connie, been supportive, all the different moves over the years. We started dating 9th grade summer at Westridge swimming pool. I tell people she saw me go off the high diving board and the rest is history. But but anyhow, she's been awesome, all these different moves and, taking care of the kids, all the crazy hours and travel they have as a coach. So shout out to her. So then after the GA job, I GA'd for Coach Osborne for 2 years. And then my first job was University of South Dakota, was there 4 years, 90 and 93. Actually recruited Brandon Johnson, from Deers Ford, general manager here. And now, you're getting old when, his son Brody playing for us right now. And just had Eric Crouch's son, Carson, had an outstanding career, play for us, So it's weird. It goes full circle, right?
Oh, yeah.
So after South Dakota, that was 90, 93, 94 to 96. I was the D coordinator in Nebraska, Omaha. 97 and 99, I was the D coordinator at New Mexico State University with Tony Samuel, outstanding head coach and mentor of mine. He was my college coach at Nebraska. Had Barney Cotton down there as offense coordinator. Jerry Godowski was the quarterback coach. Bill Bush was secondary. Steve Standard, D-line, and Rich Glover. I mean, it was a really, really fun staff down there.
A few big names there.
Yeah, there are a lot of really good names, really good coaches, really good people. And then after New Mexico State is when I got a call from Coach Solich to come to University of Nebraska, coach the D-line special teams. I was there from 2000, 2003, or who knows how that ended up. 2004, I was at Western Illinois in the springtime for about 3 months. And God works in mysterious ways. I got a call from Minnesota State University and interviewed and took the job on June 16th, I think what it was, in the summertime. So a lot of time to get ready for the football season and had an 0-11 football team. Offensive coordinator was Dan McLaughlin. Defensive coordinator was Carl Pelini my first year. We ended up going 6-5. I think it was the second biggest turnaround in Division II history at the time, and a lot of fun times that year. And I was the head coach there for 3 more seasons. Then they cut scholarships, didn't like how it was going. They went from the North Central Conference to Northern Sun, had to go from 36 to 24 scholarships, and real challenging. And at that time, Bo Pelini got the head job at University of Nebraska. So that was, I think, December 2007. And Coach Osborne was the AD, had a chance to come back then to University of Nebraska as the assistant AD for football, director of football operations. I was there 7 football seasons. You know how that ended. Won 9 games every year, but wasn't good enough. And so Bo gets fired and had a chance in 2016 in December. Dave Gillespie was the athletic director at Midland University. Jody Horner was the president. And I knew Midland existed, never been on campus, never really, knew a whole lot about how, Midland ran things, and came on my interview and was really impressed. At the time, the year before they won 1 game, the year before that 2, the year before that 4. So 7 wins in 3 seasons, had fallen on some really tough times. And every school out of Nebraska have been ones that have been tough to win at and challenging. Coach that's been fired, that the record wasn't what it's supposed to be, right? And the culture, et cetera. And I can't believe a decade it's been.
Yeah. And for folks that don't know this, Coach Jamrog at Midland University, the only Nebraska college that has 10 consecutive winning seasons. I think second is 7.
Correct. I think Wayne State has 7, a couple others have had 5.
And I don't know how people realize, it's never easy, but to go 10 in a row where you have winning seasons, that's a big thing. And especially when you came in and, like you said, things were down a little, which was hard for us former Warriors that had seen great things when Coach Watchorn was there. And so, really proud of you and what you've come in and done at Midland, and appreciative of all those things.
I appreciate it, Tony. It's been a lot of hard work. Coaching staff had some outstanding coaches over the time and outstanding student athletes. We've got some great student athletes from the state of Nebraska. That's where we, work really, really hard at, as well as other states as well. But we've had some great young men come from Nebraska and Iowa, Kansas, Missouri, Texas. We've had some great California young men come out here. And what's cool is some of them have come out from, let's say, California and have stayed out here. Some have married in a Nebraska or Midwest gal. We've had players, when you have 33 sports at Midland, right? Some have married, a volleyball player or soccer, and you go to those weddings. It's pretty cool to go to weddings of your former players. You know that, Tony. You've been to many over the years, and to know that, and you look up there and you see the groomsmen, and you're like, wow, they didn't even know each other 4 years ago, and now they're best friends. They're friends for life. You see ushers that were, part of the football team, and it's just a really cool experience to see those guys, and then just to follow their careers and how they're doing. And it's not a surprise how well they're doing, whether it be their family, how they're doing in their job, the community. And I don't know, I like telling the story about Roger Heatham, former player. Our football field's named Heatham Field, right? For Roger, just a tremendous supporter. And I'll never forget 10 years ago when I got the job at Midland and went out to lunch with him. And he gave a very large donation for the football turf. And I asked him, I said, Roger, let me ask you a question. I go, why did you give this kind of gift? And he goes, Jeff, let me tell you something. He goes, the experience I had at Midland. He goes, obviously I had a great experience in the classroom, but he goes, really, it was that football program and all the principles that I learned, the hard work, the perseverance, the dedication, the accountability, all those things. I applied those to the business world and had a very successful career. And the least I can do is give back to a program and school that's meant so much to me. And those are the kind of stories that you love hearing. And I know many of the players that have gone through our program. I know we're going to do great things in the world and inspire people, motivate people, and bring value to whatever they're involved in.
Now, Coach, I know that you have very strong values, and what we would like to know is how do you lead your team with those values, and how do you start teaching the new people that's coming in, that standard of values that you hold?
Right. Well, it's part of the recruiting process when we recruit people and bring them on campus, and we love when parents come on campus, and we'll do a PowerPoint, video of what our program is, and we'll talk about it. And we want young men that are about the right things, that are going to get up every day and attack the day and go 1-0 every week. We want guys that have great character. It starts with character. I don't care what their film looks. I don't care what their transcript looks like. I want to know about the young man, how he's doing in school, how he is in the cafeteria, what other people in the building think about this young man. And once we see that, then we're going to go look at his transcript, right? A lot of people will go to grades right away. I like knowing tardies and absences, how they are. And then we'll move into, how are they academically, and do they have the major that we want? And then we get into the football part. I love leaders. I love guys that are captains. I love taking young men that come from great football programs that know how to win. I like taking quarterbacks like a Brody Johnson that's a winner, that has won in high school. And that's kind of young men that we want. But we have certain standards. I hit them pretty hard in making sure that this is the culture that you want. And one of them being, if you're going to be about drugs, this is the wrong place and the last place that you'd want to come. We do random drug tests at Midland. That's awesome. A lot of programs, their head coach probably wouldn't want to have players drug tested because they probably know the results and what's going on in society. And so I think we do a really good job, our coaches and our players, when they come on campus, of finding out, is this what I call an OKG, our kind of guy? Is he a guy that is going to fit our culture? And we you make some mistakes sometimes on some young men. They'll weed themselves out, no pun intended. But we just want to make sure that we get guys with great character. They're fun. I tell people I have, 147, 150. I mean, we have a big roster, right? We've had as big a roster as 165. Now, some of them have decided they don't want to play football. They lose passion. But I'll see these young men, then I see my own two sons. So we want to make sure that we get guys that, are fun to be around, that are high character guys that want to bring greatness. They want to be a great teammate. And those are the kind of young men that we're looking for at Midland.
Now, you were telling us that you lead these guys down a certain path that you already said, right? By giving them some acronyms. What were they?
Yeah, well, so our motto is the summit, and that's the peak, right, of the mountain. So we want to bring out the best in them, reach their potential. I think that's when it is the most rewarding. When you sit down with young men, you go over what your goals are as a player and then as a team, and you reach those goals. And so we'll sit that down with our guys and do that. Along that, like last year, we call it Climb 25. This year it's Climb 26. What does climb mean? Well, we have an acronym for that, okay? The C is commitment. We want young men that are committed, not when it's easy, when it's tough, year-round dedication on and off the football field. The L stands for little things. You can't do great things unless you do the little things right. And so we're constantly making sure that every detail matters, everything counts in life, and to make sure we take care of business every day. The I is intensity. You got to be focused, laser focused. If not, mistakes are going to happen and happen too often. You obviously are going to make some mistakes in life, but we really want to be intense on how we go after things day in and day out. The M is mental toughness. That means a lot of things, but one thing we do check in on our player to make sure that mentally we are right. We have a system, an app that every day is a daily check-in. One of them is up their soreness on a scale of 1 to 5. Also, how they're feeling. So if a kid puts down 5, 5's the best, life is pretty good. A young man puts down a 1, now we're tracking to find out what is going on with that young man. So the mental toughness, again, we want to be great no matter what the circumstances are. And too many people in life, in my opinion, when it's 72 and it's sunny and things are really good, your body's feeling really good, they'll play really good or they'll perform really good. What happens when, you may be a little bit sick, your body's not feeling really good, something maybe happened back home? Are you still bringing your best every day? Are you still a great teammate every day? So that's the mental toughness that we're looking for. And then B's the brotherhood. I mean, that's the one where you hear it all the time. There's some teams that are closer than others, and some are better, what I call player-led teams. I think the better brotherhood you have, the better player-led team you're going to have. And that's probably what excites me about this football team right now, but maybe any of we'll see how it plays out record-wise, but just on the surface and the feeling we get, this is the best player-led team that we have going into the summer, going into the season next year. So we're really excited about what this 2026 campaign can look like.
I know back in 2017, and I was fortunate to be on 1987 team, and we were back at Midland for an induction in the Hall of Fame, our team was. And I know you were there at the banquet, and you had asked me to come and speak. And I had never been in the football office, and I met you there, and we were going through things. And the thing I loved was on that wall, the core values of Midland football. And I was reading those while I was waiting for you to come in. And that's when I was in, Coach, because I want you to know I really believe in those things. And I think, if you have good values and you expect good things from young men, I really believe that leads to winning.
Right.
And, Coach Godowski, Coach Watchorn, guys I played for, I think they were those kind of guys, and we knew where the line was, and you did your best to meet those expectations. So I love that about your program. So thank you so much for instilling that into your players, because you know what? They need to know those things.
No doubt. And you always come back to them, right? You always come back to what you believe in, and they know it when they come to the program. They know exactly what they signed up for. And, I won't go through all of them, but I mean, number one, I'll not lie, cheat, steal, nor tolerate those who do. So not only it's about us, but it's about other people around and holding people accountable. And our guys, knock on wood, but it's been a fun group to watch. A lot of times I don't have to bring that sheet out, but we go over it in fall camp, but they go by it every day in our office. And we go back to that many times throughout the season of making sure that we're smart. You have a big win. What do a lot of campuses do when you win? Just look at the NCAA basketball, right? And look at those campuses and what happens at nighttime at some of those places, but just making sure that we make really good decisions, because decisions have consequences. And so we hit it really hard, the drugs, the alcohol, everything, just making sure we're making really good decisions every day.
And the great thing is that's going to go with them for the rest of their life. Those things apply in your career, your family, all those kind of things that lead to success. And so it's a big lesson to learn at a stage in life where this may be the most important thing to so many of them. And to have to live to those standards, not knowing that someday I'm going to apply those things in my life. And that's what I love about it.
No doubt. No doubt.
Now, we already talked about how you have the app and it helps the guys tell you guys how they're feeling, right? Helps the coaches out with how to deal with, certain players at the moment and everything. Now, how do you guys help the athletes overcome setbacks throughout the season?
Yeah, constant dialogue, elite communication. Guys want to be coached. And, our job is to be great teachers. And they need to take that information, process it, find out maybe better ways. What can we do better? A lot of times you got to look at what we can do better as coaches rather than what can the players do. And so sit down, have one-on-one. Maybe it's how someone's learning. Okay, we give guys a test. Okay, it's called a VAC test. Okay, people learn one of three ways: visual, auditory, and kinesthetics. And so some people can be like, coaches, tell me what to do. Okay, that's auditory. Some say, coach, I got to see it. All right, video of it. And then you got the young men, sometimes they want to walk through, they got to demo it, they got to actually do it. And so, just constantly tell your guys that, mistakes are going to happen, but we want full speed mistakes. We want, if there's going to be an error, it's going to be not based on effort, and we're going to play extremely hard. And, again, understand that mistakes are going to be made, and how do we get past it? You got to have thick skin. You got to get ready for the real world too. You got to take coaching. You got to embrace coaching. I'll never forget a comment Coach Kane said back in the day. He goes, "The day that I'm not on you," he goes, "the day that I don't care about you." And so I thought that always hit home to me that, I'm going to be on you because I care about you and I'm trying to bring out the best in you. So take coaching, embrace it, and let's get better together.
What's a typical week look like for you and your staff?
During the season, yeah, it's a 7-day. I know God gave the Sabbath. My son will always say, "Dad, make sure you're going to church," and we do that. But usually come in early afternoon on Sunday, our staff, and grade the film. Then we'll get together in the afternoon around 3:00 and go over all the how the game went and watch some clips of the game, and then we'll meet with the players late afternoon on Sunday for a couple hours. We'll usually meet as team first, go over the game and the goals, watch some video clips, some the good ones, and then some ones we got to get better. And we'll watch special teams together, and then the extra point field goal block. Then people that were on the special teams will watch the rest of the units, and then offense, defense will meet. So probably about 2.5 hours we're meeting on Sunday. Then the coaches go back to the office and start breaking down film. Monday for the players is a day off. They enjoy that day. You got to have a mandatory 1 day off in college football. I don't know if they had that back in the day when you played, Tony. And then we didn't have that, by the way, in Nebraska, although we did take Sunday off for players. Coaches were working, though. So Monday, coaches are in the office early and work until whatever time at night it takes to get their game plan ready for Tuesday's practice. Okay, Tuesday, coaches are in the office early in the morning, and then at 3:25 is when we have our meetings. We probably about close to an hour between special teams and offense defense, and then we're on the football field from about 4:45 to 6:45, give or take. Tuesday, Wednesday are your big pad days, game plan, everything. Thursday, we usually go helmets, a little shorter practice, a little more special teams, although special teams is every day, but really heavy emphasis on Thursday practice. Meeting times and all that are the same. And then Friday, we move up because class is not as late in the day. On Friday, we have a team meeting at 2. We'll have about an hour and a half meetings, and then we'll have about a 45-minute walkthrough on Friday, and then get up Saturday, 8 o'clock. We have chapel mass, just like Coach Osborne did back in the day at Nebraska. 8:30 to 9 is meetings on both sides of the ball. And then 9 o'clock is a pregame meal. And then around 10:30 or so, they start getting taped. Recruits come at about 10:50. We usually have recruits at every home game. And then we get over to the stadium about 2 hours before game, making sure we're ready to go and get ready to play a game at 1 o'clock. Almost all our games are at 1, except we are moving up this year. Our first game is going to be a Thursday night game. Dickinson State's coming. It's going to be a Thursday night game, 6 o'clock. And then we're trying to play more night games in September. And we do have another game in September, home game at night. And then we are playing at Northwestern in September this year at night. So our guys are excited. All but one kid, Colin Woods, poor Colin, he's the only guy that said he wants a 1 o'clock game. So out of the whole football team, only one is not very happy with me right now, but he's over it. So it's all good.
Do they still take the cattle truck out to the field?
Yeah, we take a bus now. I heard about that. I'd love to see that cattle truck that they took back in the day, but I'd love to see old pictures of that. You got to send me that.
I have a picture of that, but
It's got to be, someone's got to have one.
that was a very unique thing. And when I first went there, and I'm like, really, we're getting a cattle truck to go out to the field?
Yeah, we have a bus that we transport them over there before the game.
Yeah. Speaking about the younger generation, you said that you have recruits at every home game. And what advice could you give to kids that are coming out of high school sports and wanting to keep going in their college career and their sports?
Yeah, I guess the first advice I would say is explore all options. Make sure that if it's a major or if there's certain items that you want in your college experience, to make sure that school has it. And then once you get to a university and make that decision, hopefully it's the only one. It's kind of like marriage, I tell guys. Hopefully you're going to have one. And but you just look around college football, right? Guys have been 2, 3, 4 schools, so somehow something's not jiving, right? Something when they get to that school, whether it's playing time or coach told the trust factor. Why are these guys leaving? There's going to be failure, so that's the part that you got to really hit hard. Is there's going to be tough times, and there's going to be tough times in life, and I think the game of football prepares you for those moments. I've had a lot of guys over the years come in and say, Coach, I think I'm going to give it up. And what I try to do is, what are those reasons? And some, I'll try to talk them out of it. I'll try to say, best advice I ever got from my parents, and I've used it with my son, and it's worked. Try it 1 year. And after that, you have these same kind of feelings. And then then maybe make that decision to give it up if it's just that miserable. Is it really that miserable? I like a scale of 1 to 10. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being extremely miserable. What is that scale? And if they say 10, like they're getting up and their mental health okay, that's one thing. But when it's another one where it's not going exactly like they want, they're not getting their playing time, they're, some of these other reasons that they give you, then it's like, what's going to happen at your job when, you're not the vice president and you're not getting, the title that you think you deserve or the salary you deserve? Are you just going to bail on your family and now take another job? Because one thing I do know, once you make that decision, and it's a big one early in life, right? The word quit.
Right.
All I know is this. I've seen a lot of players over the years I've recruited or at a school that I was at, and the ones that have quit come up to me and say, Coach, you remember me? I was at this school. And they'll say, yeah, I quit after my freshman year, sophomore. Man, I sure wish I'd have stuck it out. I've never met, and now next year will be year 38. I've never met a young man that says, man, I'm so upset that I stuck it out at whatever school. So the word finish. is a powerful word. And we talk all the time about finishing whatever we're set out to do. If we make a commitment, we're doing it. And if we say that, hey, we're on this team for this year, we're on the team. We're not, in October going to say, you know what, I'm out. So I think it's a big deal right now. Commitment, loyalty, your word's your word, and try to live it out every day.
Coach, I got some easy, quick ones for you, just some rapid fire that I think everybody's probably wondering about. What was your favorite pregame meal when you were playing?
Probably the night before, because I'll tell you what, the day of, George Sullivan, our trainer, I'll tell you what, back in the day, it wasn't much. I think they gave a little piece of Canadian bacon, a little toast. I think back then, I don't think they had the data on nutrition, maybe, like they do now, like how important it is. But night before now, I remember some really good meals, some prime rib and some things that were pretty good. But day of the game, Tony, I got to tell you, they did not feed us much. You talk former guys I played with, Cleve Blakeman, Tom Menderes, they probably say the same thing, that there was nothing to brag home about it 4 hours before the game.
I love the steak and eggs. We always had steak and eggs. I always look forward to that because we didn't get steak very much when I was in Midland. Next one, most intense coach on your staff.
Most intense coach. Well, it'd almost be disrespectful if you don't go with the strength coach, right? Seth Bontrager, he can be intense. Yeah, that's a good question.
Don't you think those guys are a little bit crazy?
Strength coaches, yeah, they're wired a little bit different. Yeah, they love getting up at 4 a.m. and getting the day started. They love their coffee and usually energy drinks they like as well. But Seth, our Coach Arnold, our D coordinator, is a pretty intense guy. Now, off the field, really nice people, right? Just like you want your players, right? But has intensity to them that you like. All are wired differently, but at the end, they're all intense. Some just show it more than others.
Yeah. Not your players, because I know every coach is going to say it's not about me, it's about the players. So I let them pick. If you could pick the best locker room music, what would you pick?
That's an easy one. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Unfortunately, rarely, once in a while, we have a great audio system in our locker room. Okay, audio visual put in. I mean, it could wake up a church, I believe. And unfortunately or fortunately, how you look at it's right next to my office. So on game day, I mean, I can try to get out of my office and go over to Heatham Field or go over, across campus early to get out of that locker room because it's player-led, music and the loudness of it. And so, but once in a while, there'll be a time during the week randomly where a player I hear like Tom Petty and I'll go out of my office and like, who's playing that? And then I see him like, I like that. I like that.
We used to do when I was teaching weightlifting, if AC/DC song came on, and once I taught them this, they just did it.
Right.
But everybody put their weights down and then they'd stand here and I said, I salute the kings of rock and roll.
That's right.
So yeah, I enjoyed that type of music.
Yeah, AC/DC's good on there. And yeah, some of the players like that. It's interesting how music that many years ago and players this generation will. And obviously we know there's some music that I don't even know what they're saying. So, but players like it. But so
I just thought if they would have had Thunderstruck out when I was playing, I would have tore the fence down.
Exactly.
I love that song.
Exactly.
All right, Coach, we got to start wrapping things up. So what is the next step for your football program that you're thinking of in the next 5 years?
Well, the next step, if you want to talk wins and losses, okay, to me, it's about the process, right? And we talk about going 1-0 every week and what we want to get done 5 years, 10 years, what we want to do in life. But let's face it, we want to go to the playoffs. That's our next step, and then do some damage in the playoffs. We've been close. A couple years ago, we were 8-3, lost our last 2 games, really close. That last game against Dort that knocked us out of the playoffs. And I think we have everything in place to do it, and we got to go out and do it. One thing that I did last year for the first time in my 10 years, Ohio State used to do this, and I'm sure some teams do it, so it's not revolutionary, is we did captains at the end of the year. For my first 9 football seasons, we've had players that I meet with at the end of the season, I ask them a series of questions, and one of them was, "What'd you think of the captains?" And a lot of them, a lot of players on our team would say, "Coach, three of them were good, but these two, shouldn't have been elected captains. They didn't act like captains. They brought the team down, etc." I thought last year, uh, the decision being made of we were going to have two special teams captains every week. Coaches were going to appoint them, two defense, two offense. Okay. And you could be the same guy every week or new guys or whoever's being, we think, great leaders on and off the football field. At the end of the year, if you were picked as a captain one of those games, you're going to be on a ballot to be a permanent captain. But we are going to vote on them at the end of the year. And so we did it this year. And so those guys that were voted were ones that were locked in. No one could say, hey, these guys weren't captains. They were. And one of them was Brody Johnson. He's back next year. First time I've had a first or second team all-conference quarterback since I've been here. Threw 7 touchdown passes in the second half of the Concordia game, which I didn't know this until the other day. It was the fourth largest comeback in the history of college football, any division, which pretty impressive. I think it says a lot about our culture that you can come back from that kind of deficit. I mean, it was 31-7 halftime, okay? I'm about ready to call up Costco to see if they got any openings, all right? Then they scored second half to go up 38-7. And then we scored 38 unanswered points, took a 45-38 lead. They scored before the end of the game. It's 45 going into overtime, and then we score in both overtimes and went for 2 and got it. They didn't score in the second overtime, so it's 60-52. We scored 53 second half points. So that's crazy.
Not an easy thing to do.
No. But going back to the guys back, so I mean, you have Brody back, you have Paxton Van Houten back as a captain, and you have Jay Ballard, who I think could be one of the best linebackers in our league, and Paxton's a really good linebacker too. So those three are back that were captains from last year, and I believe this team has the capabilities and has shown it throughout spring to be the best player-led team that I've been a part of. The best teams that I've been around are the ones that, you know what, they handle business before the head coach has to get involved, or if they don't see a guy running through the line in summer workouts, are going to call it before any of the coaches would ever call it out. And that's what we have brewing right now at Midland, that it really excites me and our coaches. And we got a new field coming here this summer that, man, I'll tell you what, when Dr. Allie Williams said it the other day in front of all the coaches, the first thing I did was start clapping, because I'll tell you what, it's been 10 years waiting. Tony, back when you guys played, it's been a long time before you have Watchorn Complex, and you look right across the street and you see this grass, okay, that has some holes in it and you can't do anything on it. Back in the day, they did a little bit, but a lot of years was never used except for maybe a walkthrough. Is now going to have permanent turf. Eric Crouch Recreation, outstanding human being, and his son Carson playing for us is spearheading that project, and we'll be ready to go for the season next year. So it's going to save so much time that we're going to be able to use for meetings, a little bit of extra practice that we've been able to have, because again, we've had all jump in a car after meetings. Okay, not the cattle truck that you had, okay, but everyone's got to jump in their car and head through, mile or whatever it is, but you're going through parking lots and going through the neighborhoods of Fremont that some of them don't have stop signs, and our guys are really excited about this opportunity.
We're going to save some gas next year.
Oh, a lot of gas too.
It's good timing.
Yes.
So, Coach, let's apply some things to the cars now that we're talking about that. If your team was an engine, what kind of engine would it be?
No, you got to go with diesel, right? A little gas, a little oil, mix it up, offense, defense, smash mouth, a little bit of finesse, get on the perimeter. And yeah, let's go with diesel.
And then also mid-season pit stop, when things get a little monotonous, what do you do to get them out of that?
We better have fun. So to me, you brainstorm, and it's great when you can be proactive than reactive, right? And so we try to, as a staff, try to do some different things throughout the year that make it fun. It's still a game. And when they get up every day, you want them excited about being there. And you try to create a culture where it's fun, be yourself. And then I like to think outside the box. I tell our staff, let's think outside the box. What can we maybe do at the middle of practice, end of practice? Maybe it's something we got to do as a team. Maybe it's, tomorrow it's going to be beautiful weather with no wind. Let's go in the back of our complex and grill out for our guys. We do a lot of grilling out. I like breaking bread. Our coaches like breaking bread with our players. When we go eat at the cafeteria, I tell our coaches, don't eat with coaches eating with coaches. I go, we're going to go eat with other players on the team and get to know, maybe it's the O-line coach eating with the corner. Okay. Try to break up cliques best you can within your team, and also with coaches, just getting to know kids. And you never know what players are going to connect with certain coaches. It's been cool when I meet with players and something comes up and it's like, man, that talk he had with that coach in the cafeteria, or we had a grill out and you spent that time. It's powerful. I mean, you go back to when you coached and then when you played, and those coaches that came up to you and asked you and had dialogue, had a conversation, asked about your parents, asked about your family. That goes a long, long way. It's about relationships.
Some of my greatest memories weren't about football.
Right.
With that young man, it was a time in his life when he just needed somebody.
No doubt.
And you tend to remember those. I mean, not that there isn't great plays and
Right.
great seasons that you remember, but it's those moments with those young men where you knew I maybe made a difference with them.
No doubt.
Now, the last two things before we let you go, Coach. How can fans help support the team this season? And what's a little message to the community of Fremont and the surrounding areas that you want to give out?
Well, the first one, they can finish off writing that check for that football field, and soccer and baseball and all the other sports that are going to be on that field. But all joking aside, big one is come out on a Saturday night or Saturday afternoon and see some really good football. Young men that, a good majority are from the state of Nebraska. We got some local kids playing at Midland, and just come out and support. We're going to support, your business. We love going to different restaurants. We've gone to some different ones with our football team and or cater some food from them, and go to Juice Stop and Buffalo Wild Wings and Raising Cane's and all these different, I could rattle them all off, but there's really good restaurants here in town. But come out to Midland, come to a game, and then hopefully it's just like anything. You really enjoy that experience, right? You want to come back.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, but that would be one. And the other one, and they're doing it already, but it's been awesome just to see the internships that our guys have in town, and some of them stayed in town, and some of them are police officers. I mean, we have, Wyatt Tremaine, Dodge County Sheriff, and you can go on, some different people that have stayed in the area and supporting this area. So that'd be awesome if we can get more fans to Midland. We do get we think very good support, but just like anything, right, we're trying to raise the bar.
Number one, I want to thank you for being here today for the second time. And I also want you to know just how proud the people of Fremont are that you represent the community, Midland University. But as a former player, I want to thank you for all that you do. But I know we're all proud to say this is our team. This is who we are. And again, Coach, even though you've done a great job winning, that's not the number one. The number one is how you represent Midland University and Warrior football. So thank you for all those things you've instilled in your young men.
Well, I appreciate it, Tony, and thank you and all former players that have worn, back in the day, right? It was orange and black. Now we're a little bit different colors, but whether it was Midland Lutheran, Midland University, we're family. You represent Midland football the right way as well, and we appreciate that. And there's so many great Midland Warrior former players that had great success while they were here, and great success in the business world, and family, man, and just it's been great to see so many meet so many former players over my 10 years, and hope continue to meet more Midland Warrior football players.
Well, and I also want to. We didn't have our sponsor, our drink sponsor, Cart and Co. We didn't have that coffee today because we drank it the other day when we were filming it the first time. But I want to thank Erica and the Cart and Co. Main Street in Fremont. Excellent coffee, and she's very passionate about it. So thanks, Erica, for what you do for us. And anything else, Fernando, you'd like to add?
Thank you so much for being here, Coach. And thank you for tuning in to this podcast and this episode of Pit Stop with the Deer Sport Auto Amigos. We'll see you next time.
Yep, take care.